That is very cool.
Oh man, that word is so cool.
Just just knowing that someone said that it was cool makes it super not cool though. So now we have to scrap
Oh.
everything. Sorry.
Hmm. All right, guys, it's been fun.
See you later. Thanks for watching.
Oh, let's do a clap in.
Oh, okay. Oh, god damn it. Keep going.
Is
Keep
something
clapping.
broken?
No, I just forgot to turn my volume down. Yay! Yay, yay, yay! Woo, 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 woo! Ow!
What's up, everybody? It's On Fire Tonight with Josh and Tressa. We are here today to talk about Man in the High Castle, Season 2, Episode 7, Land O' Smiles. And we were about to spoil it. So if you haven't watched it already and you don't like spoilers, watch it first and then listen to this. You went, you came, you're back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Tressa, tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this episode? A lot was going on.
A lot was going on, but it started kind of slow, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a regular catch-up episode, and then bang, bang, boom! Stuff happening everywhere.
They do a fucking great job of keeping the action rolling and keeping the plot rolling.
Yay!
Right?
Yes.
Like, there is very little treading of water on this fucking show, and most shows spend almost all of their time treading water.
Right. Because it's hard to come up with good ideas that you can keep going for 12 episodes a year. Which
It's very difficult. Yeah, I think that this is outstanding.
Agreed. Side note, was like,
side boob.
Side boob. I was like, I'm not going to take notes. I'm just going to enjoy it. And then like a third of the way through, I'm like, I got to take notes. So I don't remember what happened the first like third of the show. If you like tell me the beginning of the scene, I'll be like, oh yeah, and then this, and then that. Okay, so I just had to side boob that one.
Yeah, I completely understand the side boob because it is like watching this in a serious way that where you and I then have a real in-depth discussion about it. I have a simultaneous push-pull of I want to take notes on everything, but I don't want to take notes at all. I want to just watch it and I don't want to miss a frame of it because like sometimes really important information is just done in like a half a second cut.
Absolutely.
That's like, you know, where there's no dialogue at all. So, having said that, I think we'll do our best.
That's all we can do, Josh.
All right, so it opens with Frank is having a nightmare.
Oh, right.
He's haltingly speaking Hebrew at a Passover Seder with his dead sister and her dead children. And they start to talk about like what it was like to live under Pharaoh's rule, and we live under rule now. And then all of a sudden the gas starts and he starts freaking out and he's like, don't breathe, whatever you do, don't breathe. How can anyone follow that? And then he wakes up fucking drenched in sweat.
Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. There's so much death, and there's so much discussion of cultural differences and understandings and misunderstandings about culture throughout this episode. Like, you know, the Smith family goes to a funeral. The first time we see Childen in this episode, he's got a sex worker. It's a white lady that he's got dolled up like a geisha. And he is telling her the Japanese that he wants her to say back to him with emotion. And it's not even clear that he wants to have sex with this woman. No. He just wants to like live out. He's like such a Japanophile.
Yeah.
he wants to live out this fantasy with this geisha, and the way she was haltingly speaking Japanese was like the way Frank was haltingly speaking Hebrew.
Oh.
I mean, sort of, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he doesn't understand. He's doing his best to like sound out phonetically.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing her best to repeat the sounds that she just heard.
So with Frank,
yeah,
was he ever practicing, or was he always in denial of his Jewish heritage? Because I always got the
good
feeling that
question.
he never even acknowledged it. It was just like, don't talk to me about it. I'm ashamed of it, or afraid that anyone would know, because I don't want to die, obviously. But I
Yeah,
don't.
my impression when the fact that he was Jewish gets introduced,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that he was basically raised without religion,
Yeah.
and he barely remembered like some things from his grandparents from when he was like a little kid. And maybe that's accurate. And so maybe this dream of a
Mm-hmm.
Passover Seder is entirely based on those like super early memories.
Little
I don't
tiny
know.
seeds. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It would make sense as to why it was such a halted reading.
Although it seems later in this episode, okay, so there are several things.
Mm-hmm.
We get introduced the idea, or we have, we get some backstory on Ed that I don't think we ever knew before, that he had like problems from getting gassed as a kid,
Yeah,
and
they did a like
he had to go to
they
the hospital as a child, and there was like radiation. So there was like a lot of not heavy lifting, but like they stuck that in multiple points of this episode to make it clear.
right. And
And we've never heard that before about him.
I think you are correct. So they really did like a 1, 2, 3 punch with that. They were like, I'm going to mention it here, sprinkle a little here, sprinkle a little there. We're not going to make it too obvious, but you're going to know what's going on.
So I think that like when a TV show is like, oh shit, we have to like we've got to add this stuff. Sometimes it just feels like, oh fuck, we just like made it up on the spot. And sometimes it feels like they always had that knowledge of the character. They just never found a way to put it in.
Yeah.
I think this show is so good. I can't tell if they just came up with that idea and sprinkled it in and made it work really well.
It
or
felt
not.
it felt a little bit of both. Just
Well, but
because
here's the thing, like it works so well,
it
right?
does. Uh-huh.
Because like Ed doesn't talk about it at all.
But he doesn't talk about himself at all, period.
No, like Frank is able to recognize on the dock that these guys have radiation badges because he went to the hospital with Ed as a kid and saw those radiation badges on doctors and technicians.
Mm-hmm.
And then Juliana has this background knowledge of Ed that she carries with her into the Reich, where like no one with his problems would have been allowed to live.
Oh, no. He would have been shown a mercy.
Right? It's the double mercy of not having to suffer and not having to face the ignominy of being a useless eater.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Nazis.
Yeah, Nazis,
They suck.
everybody. Can you believe it?
Nazis say the darndest things.
Remember when Bill Hot? Never mind. Hey, nothing.
Okay, so so back to this like tidbit about Ed.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that like they always knew this about this character. There's just never a moment where it made sense to talk about that backstory.
Yeah, no, I get that. It felt like that, but it also felt like it felt kind of heavy-handed in this one. Like, oh shit, we should have said something earlier. Which, whatever, like with Juliana's accident, they mentioned Juliana's accident multiple times before we see the weird flashback film where she jumps in front of a bus. That was planted. I feel like they would have planted this somewhere if it was something that they had thought of before. You know what? They did it great though. I'm not complaining. I just feel like it was less.
Maybe, but it's like, if I think back on what we've seen so far, I can't imagine a place where it would add rather than detract to like fit that little backstory in.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You know, like Ed lives with his grandfather. Like, would his grandfather bring that up?
You know, when you were a kid and I was taking care of you in the hospital, when those fucking assholes and those guys and the atomic bomb junk that's not atomic bomb, that stuff, remember when that happened? And then you came to visit him in the hospital and now you're just fucking him over because you're doing this stuff and like that. See how well written that was? And that was just off the top of my head.
I don't know why you don't have like a first look deal with HBO.
Thank you.
Doesn't make sense.
I know.
Or an overall deal.
Thank you.
That's where they sign you up, but you have to wear overalls in the office.
Yes, I wrote that contract. I know.
Look, that's just how Hollywood works.
That's right, Josh. That is exactly how Hollywood works. Back to you.
All right, so Frank has got to do a lot of stuff with like resistance fighters throughout this episode.
Yeah.
You know, there's like the ex-priest guy who's like not a pacifist and blah, blah, blah. I felt a little blah, blah, blah about that guy.
Yeah.
Like, all I really care about is Sarah and to a smaller degree, that dude, Gary.
Oh, you mean Larry? Barry is crazy. Let's get through, like
Frank. Frank has no idea that dude tried to kill his ex-girlfriend, current girlfriend, whatever.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't know half the shit that like Juliana went through with that guy. He doesn't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
Like, he was a straight up, he wanted to murder her. He was going to murder her if she didn't get away.
Yeah. It seems like he should have just murdered her and then put her in the trunk rather than put her in the trunk and then murder her. Anyway, Gary's not good at his job is what I'm trying to say. Gary sucks, and Gary sucks at sucking.
Yeah, Larry's the worst.
So Sarah, I'm fascinated by her. I'm totally into her.
Yeah, she's great.
Right?
Yeah.
She's Japanese American. She was in a concentration camp. She's like, you look at me and you see the same thing that those Japanese soldiers see, a pawn. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. He's like, no, it's cool because I'm a white dude. And
no.
Okay, fine. But he's like, everyone here just sees me as like a terrible person because I'm not a Japanese person. So whatever, fuck you too. And she's like, I don't see you like that. That's how you see yourself. Fuck you, dude. How do you see me, bitch?
Well, no, he's like, he confesses his secret Judaism to her. And she's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. That means nothing
She's like,
to me,
I do not
idiot.
see you as less than I saw you before.
How do you see me, dickhead? Because you obviously see me much differently than when you were inside me, asshole.
Except I don't think so, because
You think she's wrong or you think I'm wrong?
I think you're wrong.
That's pretty much what she said, though.
And I think she's wrong. I mean, I think that you clearly said what she was saying, but I think that she is wrong. And I think she should know that that's not accurate, because earlier in the episode, Gary Larry Barry was like, hey, we're gonna take the bomb innards that you like risked your life to get and make a bunch of explosive devices, and we're gonna kill this general. We like know his like plan. We're gonna like figure out exactly when and where to get him. And Frank is like, oh, well, if it's just a dry run, like there's no reason that I can't go alone. He's saying,
don't put Sarah in harm's way.
Yeah, I don't want to risk Sarah. I'll risk myself instead.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that Sarah doesn't get that.
And she was present for that conversation. Yeah. She should have understood that.
Right.
She's no dummy.
No, she's not. But she's also, she grew up in a concentration camp and she got treated like shit for being Japanese American. So I'm sure she's on the defensive all the time, especially with white dudes.
Oh, like maybe she thinks he's just trying to cut her out.
No, I think she just doesn't want to trust that she can trust him because of her past.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they just don't know each other that well, and she doesn't know what the fuck he's thinking, because who knows what the fuck anyone's thinking.
Maybe you shouldn't have jumped into bed with somebody you just stole a bomb with.
Well, if not now, when?
You know what? You got a point.
Right?
I kept forgetting Bob's name and I just kept calling, what's his name? Children's or Childerish or whatever. I just kept calling the cufflink couple because I
Children.
Children.
Yeah, Children and Ed have some fucking wacky adventures, right? So like
it was the wackiest. So fun.
Like they have a full fucking day. First off,
yep, Bob walks in. He's like, oh, hello. What's going on, Children's or whatever your name is?
Okay, so his name's Ed, not Bob. The other guy's name is Bob. So that's very confusing what you just said.
Wait, which one is Bob?
Robert Childen and Ed McCarthy.
See, there's too many people in this show.
There are a lot of people. There's so many people. We didn't even check in once with Joe Blake or Tagomi.
We did not.
Didn't see a single stitch of. Yeah.
Too many people. So yeah, Ed walks in. He's like, yo, Bob, what's going on with the sexy lady? Or at least he gives them that eyeball. And they're like, all right, where are the cufflinks?
Except, Childen is not embarrassed, and he's not gonna like even entertain the idea that this guy has seen anything embarrassing.
No. But his whole thing with that sex worker was very much I mean, obviously with this whole fucking show, it's like, here's a mirror into what you would have been like if it was different. Because I can see so many how do I say this? Like people fetishizing the other side. So they're going to be like, I'm paying you to do this, so I need you to look like this other thing for me because I'm really into that now. And that's exactly what Bob is 100% with everything that the Japanese do. He
is like a super duper student of their culture.
Yeah, but he also fetishizes the shit out of it.
Yes, but it's not Well, like, what's the definition of a fetish beyond like a deep interest? Because I feel like his interest in Japanese culture and all things Japanese, like the language, like just how people behave,
mm-hmm.
He's really into the intricacies of like, he wants to be precise. He wants to be just like them in every way.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like an Anglophile for the Japanese.
Yes.
Ooh. Hence the Japaneseophile that you said earlier. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
What are you looking at?
An inanimate object worshipped for its suppressed. Nope, that's not it. An excessive or irrational devotion or commitment to a particular thing. He had a fetish for writing more opinions. Blah, blah, blah. That's the definition outside of the sexual one. So
it's an irrational level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who gets to decide what is an irrational level?
I do, Josh.
Okay.
I'm the boss.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So let's talk about the adventures of Bob and Ed.
Yeah. So Bob and Ed have an amazing day.
So fun.
Bob gets to like hang out with this white geisha made up lady who's like, look, I don't know how to play this fucking game, but I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Ed gets there. They've got to like do some finishing touches before they sell their fake Abraham Lincoln cufflinks.
All right, time to sell this shit. Let's get this on the road. We get to the store, which is like a few feet away. And we got a guy interested. We're going to tell him the backstory.
He looks like such a nerd.
Uh-huh.
Like, this guy looks like such a schmo. He doesn't look like someone who's like a baller. But I guess ballers don't always look like ballers.
That's true.
Anyway, Chilton explains what these cufflinks are and their significance, and he's like, maybe. I don't know.
Do you think that all antique collectors and I don't know, we'll just say antique collectors, do you think they're ballers? Is that the confusion there?
I don't know. I guess, like, why does someone want to be the private owner of an antiquity?
You think that
I think it's
Lincoln
a statusy thing. Like,
yeah.
For many, maybe not for all, but for many.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. And so this guy's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, the collector guy was like, so wait, what's the deal with this? Like, you don't even advertise this? And Chilton
Seems
is like,
fake.
well, if I did that, I'd have to like double my insurance policy. And so I've got to keep it on the hush hush. And the dude's like, well, maybe another time. And Ed steps in and improvises a great story. He's like, tell him the truth, tell him the real story about why it's so dangerous to let it be known. And then he goes into this great story about
amazing story.
The guy who
probably
recovered
checked out
the second one of these things.
What if this guy does any research into it whatsoever? About a gun or cufflinks or anything. I mean, granted, there's no internet, so we can't Google it, but.
Well, what I think Ed has naturally tapped into is that with anything like that, people just want a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's marketing. Like, what is the story of this thing? It's not just that the president was assassinated while wearing them both, but one of them has a haunted history.
Woo!
Right?
Scandalous.
It's so much deeper than just the assassination of a president.
Yeah, people are dumb like that. So the guy falls for it. He's like, you know what? I do want cufflinks. Those specifically. So he buys them.
Yeah, so like that's yet another way in which this episode is fucking dripping with death.
Yeah.
The fucking assassination cufflinks. So they sell it to this dude. They stack up their money and make plans to go to the Yakuza. And Ed's like, well, I'll go. And Chilton is like, well, it could be very dangerous. Like they might just as easily kill you as not. These are deadly people. He's like,
And
well,
you're
then
a
it's
dumb
better that it's
dummy.
just me. And Chilton is like, what the fuck, man? Like,
who the fuck are you, dude?
right?
Uh-huh. He's like, listen, I'm smart, you're dumb. I know what they're saying, and I know how they're saying it. I will go so you don't say something stupid. So
But he has growing admiration for this kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though he and Frank fucked up his entire life.
But we'll see about that. Because they're like, do. Let's go to this place with the best music ever made.
God damn it. I'm so mad that we're never going to visit that Yakuza bar after
I know.
this.
I wanted
I was
so bad.
so happy.
I know.
What's it called? The Bamboo Palace?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Anyway, they
So
walk in
good.
with a big bag stuffed full of money, and before they can give it to them, they get fucking shoved into a room.
What did you do? I didn't do anything. What did you do?
And it was all just because Kido and Yoshida showed up and they were like honoring the detectives.
Well, we're hiding
with
those
not
guys.
having to wait.
Not having to wait, and also, no, we're not. We're not blackmailing these guys. It's fine.
But like the Yakuza doesn't have to hide what they're doing at all. Like they've got.
Don't they though? Don't they though?
Well, it seems like they do have to hide one or two things.
Yeah, because you know what? Kido's there because he found out that the Yakuza were talking to the Nazis. And that doesn't make him very happy. And hey, what's that Yakuza guy's name? The leader?
Yakamura.
Yakamura. Check out this thing we found. It's in this box. Open up this really cool box, dude. It's a burnt up canister of film. That's weird. Why are you showing me that? I don't know what you're talking about.
And then Kido and Yoshida fucking go out guns blazing, kill everybody in the room.
Bullets in the forehead for everybody. Enjoy.
So what the fuck is the deal? Like, why?
With them killing everyone, or that they give a shit that hard, or...
All right, so like refresh my memory. Kido took an unannounced trip to go visit Obergruppenführer John Smith in New York. What was the deal with that? Did he get like any useful information out of that? Like he went there under the pretense of trying to get back Juliana Crane, knowing that John Smith was going to refuse him. Did John Smith let slip at any point that he was working with the Yakuza? I doubt it.
No, I don't think he did. I think that just spitballing, it kind of seemed like he was there just to let John Smith know that he knew that he was working with the Yakuza without actually saying so. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm just a little bit confused about that connection. And I'm also a little bit confused about how Kido and Yoshida were like, why do they know? Because the Yakuza were on site, you know, where that warehouse had been burned, that they had a Nazi connection.
I have no idea.
It seems to me that someone as powerful as the Yakuza could have connections to the Nazis because they would have connections to
everybody powerful,
anyone powerful or anyone potentially powerful. And that may or may not have anything to do with the man in the high castle. Why is the Yakuza working with the Nazis, specifically in connection to Man in the High Castle, something that empowers Kido to go in and kill these Yakuza bosses who I think, like, his bosses, his actual bosses, would not be happy about that.
And they weren't.
Well, no, it's confusing because like General Onada like gives him this speech about like hierarchy, and he's already like he was on the phone with his wife earlier in the episode talking about hierarchy.
Given the same
How,
speech to
yeah,
her about his son, like, nah, he needs to respect hierarchy.
totally. Which he does. And it's like Onada is like more important in like the empire than Kido is, even if like they're not part of the same chain of command. Like the Kempetai and the military are different things.
Yeah.
So like Onada seems to just be happy that like he went in and was violent, even though he should have been notified.
Yeah, he's just excited about the violence.
So he doesn't give a shit about the Yakuza getting shot, apparently, although it's just doesn't quite make sense to me that like that would go down like that.
No.
Like I
Because
think
he
that
loved the Yakuza too. He was like, they give me all the shit I want.
Totally. He goes to like their hostess bars and whatever.
And he's yelled at Kido plenty of times before, like, do not fuck with the Yakuza. We're getting this from them. They're helping us there. Just fucking leave them alone. And Kido's like, yeah, but I'm going to murder everyone instead. Is that cool? Is that cool, dude? Are you good with that, dude, bro?
So Kido is doing his best to do his best without like fucking up the apple cart in any way. And he's pretty good at it, but I don't understand I don't understand how he's not upsetting the apple cart by doing this.
I don't either. And I don't think it's about upsetting the apple cart. I think it's just about, I need to uphold the values and whatever of the empire, regardless of what anyone attached to it says about what I'm doing. I'm going to do what's right by the empire.
How could he possibly know how could he possibly know that killing the Yakuza boss would be the right thing for the empire in this instance?
Oh, it's his opinion. I don't think it's a fact. I think that's what he thinks needs to be done.
But like, how did he come to that conclusion?
Because they're a gang. They're Yakuza. They think
they were
above.
A gang yesterday. They were
right.
A gang the day before that.
And
why now?
I'm sure he's been wanting to do this for years. He hates the Yakuza. He always has. And he thinks, yes.
I think there's something about this, like this particular thing. I'm not understanding how he is getting a different level of meaning from it.
I don't know. I think it was just an excuse to do it.
All right. Maybe. But he's not a sociopath.
No.
He doesn't take pleasure from killing. He does what he has to do. He like kills people when he's ordered to do it, or like it's demanded of him.
I'm sorry, bro. I had to shoot you in the forehead. Had to be done. I think that he sees the Yakuza as seeing themselves as being above the empire, and I think that pisses him off to no end. I think he's been wanting to do this for fucking ever, and he finally had an excuse and proof, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm just confused.
Hey, we all are.
So a lot goes down with Obergruppenführer John Smith and family.
They got Jules helping with a gigantic swastika bouquet before a funeral. Woof, that thing. Ugh.
Yeah, we see her doing something, and then the camera at the end of the scene like opens up to show that it's been the flower arrangement of this big red and white rose swastika bouquet for the funeral.
I can't. That was time intensive. What, you guys?
Well, also we get to see like Lucy Collins is talking about like, of course I take cocaine for my sinuses, just like everyone does.
She was going through her grocery list of medications, and that was the only one I caught. I was like, oh, they did that? Cool.
Right.
I have
it's like
sinus problems as well, sir. May I?
It's the mother's little helper of the 60s, but
Nazi style.
But Nazi style, right? So Nazi style in the Reich, everybody's on cocaine.
Right.
And imperial style in the Pacific states, Land O' Smiles marijuana cigarettes.
That's right. You get a little
fucking Ed and Robert Childen escape with a bag full of money, and they're completely off the hook. They fucking light up some joints. They are happy to be alive. Frank comes in and they start making fun of him.
They're all giggly and having the best time ever.
It's the best.
Hey, such dummy, what are you doing? Being in the resistance? That's stupid. We're rich. Fuck you. I love that scene. So anyway, back to the Nazis.
Yeah.
Funeral time because of that doctor. Woof. So much. So
can we talk about like the funeral service itself?
Yeah. Yes, please.
It takes place in this modern stained glass, not church.
Yes, what the fuck? That's where they have their big ceremonies, I guess. The not church.
Right. It looks exactly like a ton of churches and synagogues, except it's been retrofitted. So it was probably like an existing structure.
Yeah, for sure.
And they just put swastikas over
Jesus
or whatever happened to be there before.
They took out Mary,
took her out back and shot her in the head.
Hilarious. And then put a line of swastikas. Yeah. And then they were everywhere, like even places that didn't need to be. Well, it didn't need to be anywhere, but like hanging from the ceilings. What?
Right.
Why? What is that shit hanging from the ceilings?
They've got the coffin. There's a big photo of Dr. Adler, but a much larger photo of Adolf Hitler, possibly a painting of him. It's like 10 times the size.
They just keep that on deck for everything. You know this. I was not paying attention to any of the eulogy because I was like,
okay, the eulogy is all about family. He's like, Jerry was a great man who loved his family, and he became part of our family through the work of his work as a doctor. And then he talks about the he talks about the absolute necessity of being willing to die for your family if need be, because otherwise, what are all of your sacrifices even for if you're not willing to do that? And he's just talking directly to Helen.
Yeah. And she's feeling it hard.
Yeah. So he's giving the public facing speech that makes sense for everyone else. But really, the message is clear. Don't worry, Helen. I would do anything to protect Thomas. I'll put my own life at risk if need be.
Wink. So
Thomas has...
He has like an aura is what he has.
Is an aura?
Yeah. It's like a seizure, but it's basically you just like lose what's going on, and it's a seizure, but it doesn't look like a seizure. It's all in your brain, and it just looks like you've checked out for a couple seconds.
So Juliana is with him when he does that right after the service.
Yeah. And she totally like saves it.
She saves it, and Helen comes and like takes him away immediately. And then Helen like orders Juliana to stay at the house after the whole reception is over. Like at the reception, Dr. Adler's wife is like, I don't believe that my husband just died. Like, I told the doctor not to cremate him. We're going to have an autopsy.
She just sounds like a crazy lady. What's this crazy lady talking about? She must be crazy from grief. Listen to this lady. Let's get her in the kitchen because she's being crazy, is what was going on.
So, yeah, Helen like isolates Juliana and is like, so let's just be totally clear about what you saw today. And Juliana's
it's fine. I just saw a kid. He was tired. He was upset about a family, close family friend. He was just really upset. It's too bad because he was close with that guy, and he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. That's right, Juliana. Thank you. You are free to go.
Here's the thing. Like, I understand that there would be like high levels of paranoia for literally every human being living in the Reich, because just any suspicion that a person has a degenerative disease could lead to them being informed upon. And then the next thing you know, they are dead. So I can sort of understand Helen just being like extra on edge, but I can't imagine if I were Juliana actually having any other greater like thought that Thomas was sick. If I were Juliana and I saw him like freeze up for a second, his eyes did roll back in his head.
Yeah. He looked like he was fainting standing up.
But like that is the kind of thing that like could be explained away by a million things that are nothing.
Right. But she's also, okay, first off, she just heard the Nazis talking about what did they call them? Food users?
Useless eaters.
Food users.
Food users.
I'm one of those. Useless, like the whole useless feeders thing she just heard happening. And then Thomas's mom pulls her aside and is like, what did you see? So she knows something's up. Maybe she didn't think anything was up before then, but she knows she's got to like keep it close if she knows anything. And now I think she does know something's going on with Thomas solely because of her mom was being fucking weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if she didn't know before, she has to know now. Yeah. But it seems like it would have been, I mean, so Helen not accuses her, but basically she says you pick things up very quickly.
Yeah.
And that is not a compliment.
Nope. Do not be different in the Reich, especially if it looks like you know something.
Yeah, if I had been Juliana, thrust into this new paradigm, and the 16-year-old kid of the family that's like looking after me looks like he's gonna faint shortly after
a funeral
service, like I wouldn't make anything out of that.
No, I would completely think it was because he was sad, and that's it. Like he is overwhelmed with feelings and it got too much.
He's 16 years old, so he probably didn't sleep at all last night because he was up masturbating constantly. Obviously. And then he had to go to this funeral, and that was like an emotional thing because he did know the guy. And then like the combination of like furious masturbation for 24 hours straight.
That's right. And the doctor's the only one he told about those masturbation sessions. So he's even more so invested in this funeral.
So that on top of the degenerative disease, that's a lot.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Helen tells Juliana, like, you didn't see anything, right? And Juliana's like, I definitely didn't see anything. And she's like, all right, cool. Let's have a drink. And then that night, Helen is telling Obergruppenführer John Smith, like, he had a spell. And he's like, who saw? Who was he with? Who else knows? And she said, no one. I took care of it immediately. So now she's covering for Juliana.
Yeah.
Right then, fucking cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. Obergruppenführer John Smith gets a phone call at home.
Oh, neat. Who
from
was it?
Himmler.
No.
And Himmler's like, my dude, guess what?
Bro, check it.
Hitler collapsed. You know what to do.
What is he going to do?
I don't know, but apparently they have a plan for what happens if Hitler collapses.
Of course they do. Are you kidding me?
But it's a quiet plan that involves like conversations at night at home.
Hushed conversations.
Yeah.
On loud ass phones.
Dude, I cannot wait till the next fucking episode.
More Hitler. I'm just checking this real quick. So we really only saw okay, never mind.
What's up?
It's just weird that we didn't see any Joe Blake or
nope, not one
Tagomi.
iota of Joe Blake or Tagomi. And here's the thing. If Kido would assassinate the boss of the Yakuza and like whoever else is in the room, isn't it plausible that he would do something to Tagomi as well? Because Tagomi, he knows, was working with Wegner, and he doesn't know what their plan was or their rationale behind it, but he knows that he helped smuggle a Nazi out of the Pacific States.
I thought that he did know that whatever he was doing, it was because they wanted peace and not war. Right?
Well, Tagomi says that.
Right.
But like, maybe the fucking Yakuza guy wants peace and not war. Like, peace is good for business.
Yeah, is it?
I don't know. I'm sure that the Yakuza finds a way.
That's right.
Just like Jeff Goldblum famously said, the Yakuza finds a way.
Famous line. Everyone loves it. I you know what? I don't know, but I just love that he did that. Such a great scene. So happy for Bob and Ed having a blast, living their best life. Land of smiles.
Right. And of course, Bob and Ed would have been killed also, but Ed is Yoshida's informant. So Yoshida pulls him out of the cell. They have an exchange of looks that lasts about half a second. And he just says, get out of here, both of you. And that's
totally forgot.
Yes.
I totally forgot.
Yes. Otherwise, they would have been dead too, because why not?
Yeah, sure. You
because
just
fuck them.
Americans. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever they're doing here, like they're up to Yakuza business.
No good.
Right.
Good for them. Which is a good thing, because Frank could care fucking less. He does not, his heart is not into manufacturing fakes at all. He just wants to take down the Japanese in a bus full of uranium.
Right. So now Frank, I don't know what his plan is, but
I don't think he does.
So like the resistance guys are like, you fucking blew it today. And they're like ready to kill him. And he's like, no, you don't understand. They've got radioactive, they've got uranium or some kind of radioactive bullshit on site over there. So we have to change our plan. And then what he says is, we're going to bring a plague to the pharaoh.
Yeah.
Which is like, how young were you when your family stopped practicing Judaism? Like, how much do you remember?
Some stories stick with you. But also, also, yes, Frank, you fucked up. You don't walk towards uranium and in wonderment and like, what the fuck is going on here with this super secret bus where these guys are unloading shit? You like side eye it. You like glance at it. You don't walk towards it wide-eyed with your mouth wide open. Frank.
But dude, he blew the lid off of this super duper secret not organization.
Plan. But yes, he did do that.
He blew the lid off of this super duper secret plan to make an A-bomb.
Yes. But also, it's all speculative. He doesn't know.
No, he knows enough. Like, he figured it out. He sees the badges. He's following the badges. He sees these cans of something being loaded under the bus, and he knows what's up.
Maybe they're going to the hospital.
Sarah doesn't know what's going on. She just knows that he's breaking the plan and causing like undue he's causing undue attention.
Yeah,
that they do not need. Guns. He's fucking them up.
He's got people aiming giant guns at him, screaming at him, and he just keeps walking with his mouth wide open. What? No, stop, turn around. What? You saw it. You saw it. You see it. You saw it. Turn around.
But maybe then it's not great. She plays to the Japanese soldiers.
Yeah, she does.
If they see a Japanese person, I'm going to show them a Japanese person. I'm going to pull rank on that white dude and yell at him. And that also is what saves him. And then they're like, oh, it's fine. It's just some street vendor and her hired lackey. And then they think nothing else about it.
Until they see him sneaking around again. Also,
no, because new plan.
Yeah. New plan. Frank, go home.
Also, he's just told her that his real name isn't Frank, it's Fink. And part of how she gets his attention is she's yelling, hey, 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 and he doesn't hear her. And then she yells, Fink. And he's like, what? Yeah, it takes him out of his reverie.
Before we see all that, and their plan is to like scout the thing out before they bomb it, correct? Is that what the plan is?
Their plan was to scout the thing out and then figure out exactly where to plant a bomb to kill the general.
But generally in that area is where they were going to plant the bomb.
Yeah, because they know that he goes there every day. And he's like, wait a minute. This is just some dock in the middle of nowhere. Why is the general coming here? And why is he coming here every day?
Yeah, he was highly suspicious of all
Yeah, he put it together pretty quickly.
Yeah. So basically, if they went through with that plan.
Not bad for a failed art student. Hitler was a failed art student.
Oh!
And he did all right for himself.
Did he, though?
Wait a minute. Somebody cut that out.
So if they went through with that original plan, they would have blown up San Francisco, right?
Right. Correct. Okay, they would have maybe killed the general and like everybody half of the else. West Coast. Yeah. Right. So good job, Frank. They have to keep all of this under wraps because if the Nazis knew that the Japanese were developing an A-bomb, they would bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Which is what all of that Man in the High Castle film is warning about. A nuclear attack on San Francisco.
I still don't understand the films. I don't understand their relevance because it's a different universe timeline. I don't know. So I don't know how they're predicting anything because it's a different place with different people. I don't understand it.
Well, Hitler, in his conversation with Rudolf Wegner, or maybe it was either with Wegner or with John Smith. He talks about how.
What's his title? I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, do you mean Obergruppenführer John Smith?
Oh, yes.
That's who we're talking about. Okay. Obergruppenführer John Smith.
Okay, got it.
Not to be confused with other Johns Smith.
Of course.
Hitler says something like, fate is in the hands not of all of us, but of a few people. And somehow, like, these films, like, show who those few people are. And then the man in the high castle is trying to figure out, like, okay, so this guy dies in this movie and he dies in this other one, but I'm not going to show you because I'm just going to show you the side of his face. And it'd be kind of confusing.
Which also, I would have never guessed.
Right. So somehow, like, that one guy is like a key part of the puzzle about whether or not San Francisco gets destroyed in an atomic blast in our timeline.
Yeah. I just don't understand how the films led anyone to believe any of that. Were past films some sort of predictor of other crap that has already happened? I don't.
Presumably.
Right, but I need details. I need a story. I need it to be laid out to me and told to me very specifically in small steps that are easy to chew each time.
I don't know.
Damn it, Josh.
I don't know. Unfortunately, that's all we got from this episode. And that's all the time we have for our episode.
Josh, it's been great. We'll see you guys next time or whatever. I don't know. I've fucking given up.